What's up guys? Thanks for tuning in to the channel. We just got back from an awesome kayak camping trip down the West Fork of the Choctawhatchee River here in southern Alabama. We spent one night on the river, had a great time, and I want to share with you guys some of the video and the photos that we took along the way. Enjoy the adventure.
So here we are in Blue Springs, Alabama, and this is in southeast Alabama. And initially our plan was to put in at Blue Springs State Park. And the Blue Spring pours into the West Fork of the Choctawhatchee River, which you can kind of see here is a kind of an olive green color zigzagging through these woods. As you can see, it works its way south here and zigzags through these woods. It's a pretty rural area of southeast Alabama. And I had done the East Fork of the Choctawhatchee in trips past, and this time I want to do all of the West Fork. You can see the West Fork comes down, you can see from the green foliage here, and it meets up with the East Fork, which comes up this way. And I've done all of this stretch before. And then we wanted to continue on under Highway 231 and come out just past the town of Newton at a little park called John Hutto Park, and that was going to be our pickup point. However, we hit some major snags along the way. There were some storms that came through the area months before we had put in. So about every 200 feet, there was a significant log jam that stopped our progress. In the video, you're going to see we actually only make it to Highway 68 after a day and a half of paddling. So just maybe 5 or 6 miles if I had to map it out. But let me take you in and show you the packing process here. It was probably the mid to upper 60s as we're filming this here and as we're getting ready for the trip. However, the low forecast for that night was in the upper 30s, and I think it did reach 39 or 40, somewhere in there. But one of the things people ask me is, how do you pack for these trips? And what do you bring? And I kind of wanted to give a quick snapshot. This is actually my son Noah's gear that he's going to be bringing on this trip. You know, dry bags are essential, sleeping bag, dry clothes in 1-gallon Ziploc bags, lots of food and snacks to kind of eat along the way as you paddle. Now this is about 2 days worth of provisions here that he's packing. And, you know, lots of ways to get water filtration methods, a way to heat up food. You can see there with my Coleman Max stove, the propane stove. Sleeping mat, one that you would want to inflate in the bottom right-hand corner. A canteen cup that you can use to boil water or heat up food over the fire, drink some coffee in. So it's time to shove off. And here we are. You can see the confluence and the convergence of Blue Spring with the West Fork Choctawhatchee River. And here's Noah's amazing jumping, kayaking skills. But you can see the clarity of the water beneath him versus the clarity of the water of the river. Well, guys, I want to say as we're taking off here, if you like this kind of content, if you like, you know, what you've seen so far, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We're a really small channel. We're trying to grow. So we do have things like Patreon that you can give to. It helps us pay for expenses associated with these kinds of trips. We would really appreciate it. But either way, main thing is I just hope you enjoy the video and hope you enjoy the adventure. So one of the things I wanted to try out on this trip was the Akaso EK7000 Pro. This is a budget action camera that I picked up on Amazon for around $100. And I wanted to kind of analyze the footage and see if this camera is something that I can use in future videos. And so here's the footage, as you can see, from this camera. It's clearly not as good as a $300 or $400 GoPro Hero or anything like that. But for a budget action camera, not bad. And I think I had the definition settings set a little bit low. But I'm going to give this camera a couple more tries and see if it's something worth using in future videos. But in the meantime, you can kind of get a gauge as whether or not this is something you want to use for yourself and purchase off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below where I got mine from. But now you can kind of experience the sound and the video quality of this Acaso camera in action. It's actually rated #1 bestseller on Amazon apparently, which is kind of what tipped me off to potentially buying this camera.
You good? Come on through, come on through. Good job. Come on through. Good job. Yeah, it's just a floating log jam. Usually you can kind of break them up a little bit once you get the current moving over them. You can tell no one's been down this river in a while, huh? I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna try this with a little boot scooting. Yeah, I'm coming back over to help you. We're gonna push that big log out of the way. Keep pushing it back there for you. Alright, so Eli, you need to push on that branch and straighten out as you come across. Push on that branch, yeah. And I'm going to pull you across. There you go. You should be good. Just watch your head. Alright. Let's see if I can come over there to you guys. I'm going to grab a hold of that branch and see if I can pull it down. Here you go, grab my paddle, quick, grab my paddle, pull me. Oh, here, pull me. I'm gonna grab onto the branch and see if I can pull it downstream.
Oh, it's about to go.
Is it? I just love that my camera is totally rolling right now on my head. Keep going, keep going. We're doing a service to humanity right now, clearing up the river. Alright, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I can't pull any further. It was a good workout. You doing okay? Stay over here. Stay to the right. Stay to the right there. You good, Eli?
And now it's about to flip over to my iPhone usage just to give you an idea of the difference in the quality. So this is my iPhone 7S that I'm using to film now. One of the things you'll notice at the tip of my boat, under my boots there, you'll see a PVC pipe. You might be thinking, why does he have a 4-inch piece of PVC pipe hanging on the top of his kayak? Well, this is a survival cache that I made in a previous video. And I'm going to go ahead and put a card up for you guys to click on if you want to see the previous video. This is actually a 2-part series that Adrian and I did where we built a survival cache inside this 2-foot long piece of 4-inch PVC and capped it on both ends.
Oh no, so close.
TV at all.
Is it cold?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here filming, not even helping.
What's that?
I'm not even helping, I'm just sitting here filming.
Oh, this is not fun.
Gotta make it. Gotta make it.
Got it.
Okay, so now,
Just gotta figure out how to get back in.
yeah,
You got your phone in your pocket?
yeah,
Is it gonna be waterproof?
no,
Uh-oh.
we'll see. We're like, at least 67% sure that it will be.
Oh gosh. There was almost my TV moment right there.
Save the phone.
It's going to take forever. Do something. Double check with Adrian. You good? Hurry up. Come on. Come on. Egg.
I committed to living out of this PVC pipe survival cache on this trip, but didn't really fully realize how cold it was going to get when I made this commitment. And this survival cache didn't really have a lot of warm weather gear. I had maybe two those Mylar survival blankets, those emergency blankets, and they have like 0 insulation value. So I was freezing cold all night. But it was good. It was a good learning experience for me to use a survival cache. And there were some things in there that I put in there I didn't need, and some things I wish I had put in there. So I'll kind of come back and refine that a little bit. But it was a fun learning experience for me. And I didn't cheat. The boys were trying to throw all kinds of snacks and stuff at me, but I promise you, I did not cheat. I stuck only to the survival cache and what I ate and how I survived.
It's gonna be close. I gotta put the camera down. We made it through. Now it's time for the others to give it a shot. If I can- Yeah, I had to go head down into my legs, but it looks like you might have it. Your bag might get hung up on the back.
Yes,
You make it?
there we have it. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm exhausted.
There's Eli.
You do it?
It's like an eye of a needle.
My hands are like frozen.
I had to put my head down between my legs to actually make it through. And even then it was close. I actually had to like take my back muscles and in my shoulder and move myself through with my shoulder muscles. Yeah, like you're doing.
Oh yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sinking in water.
Oh no. Push through.
Come on.
All right. Here, watch out. Let me go help him. You good? That was a tight squeeze.
Ooh, yes it was.
If I wasn't filming, I would have helped you.
Yeah, so needless to say, our trip consisted of a lot of this. Getting out, pulling our kayaks up on the shore, pulling our kayaks around a log jam and putting them back in, and then around the next bend, another log jam, and doing it all over again. That first day was quite exhausting, but I think the river began to clear up a little bit as we got further downstream. All right, home sweet home for the night. Time to gather some firewood, get a big fire going because it's going to get chilly. So we're making sure to gather enough firewood for not only tonight and cooking on the fire, but also for starting it like ASAP tomorrow morning. And so as promised, I'm only using items from my survival kit to get this fire going. Like I said, I'm living out of the survival kit as if it's the real deal. So I'm using my magnesium rod and a striker to throw a spark on all this magnesium. I'm using a leaf to hold all of this magnesium, all these shavings, and then some pine straw, and then kind of going from there and building this fire up. Using the kindling and the tinder and the firewood. But this is a really important process, and kudos to Adrian for teaching me this, that it's important to put in like 5 times as much work as you think is actually needed, because you know, it's very, very demoralizing when it's cold, you're hungry, you haven't eaten all day, and you're trying to start a fire, and then it goes out right away. So get all those magnesium shavings there, get a good like $50 size pile of magnesium shavings, and then strike your spark.
Nice. That was the key, you're right, just having all that.
Start getting twigs. No. Don't let me get away.
God, it's so stale down here.
Just little by little. Right now it's like a baby. You gotta just like nurture it.
I have a big stick.
No, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Little by little, one twig at a time. You need to go iron.
I love how you put it like.
That's a really good learning lesson. Just like you said, getting that leaf. I didn't even think about having just a leaf as like a basin to hold it all. So I'm glad. It's a good experience.
He's like, oh, free fire.
Yeah. Not that it's close or anything, but you are close.
Yeah, I have. Leveled up evolution-wise.
Evolution-wise.
No, but
Right. Now you believe in it.
I'm not trying to fart on the fire, I promise. I'm just trying to dry my butt off as much as possible.
You got your farts.
If I squeeze one out, it's not the other one.
Do that. Do that. The fire just like catches on the fart. It's like.
I'm trying to dry my pants off for it. Go to sleep.
It's like gasoline.
Hey, one of y'all in your dry bags has the rain fly that goes on top of that?
Oh. I'm just making a clothesline, nothing special about that.
that may be what earns you $1 million. You never know.
Uh-huh. Man builds a clothesline in the woods.
So I'm going to go ahead and open up the survival cache, but if you haven't seen this video of us packing these things and building these things out, then click on the card above and you can watch parts 1 and 2 of us packing these things. I was amazed at how much I was able to get in here, but I'm realizing right now that I just glued the ends onto this pipe, well, glued one end onto the pipe and actually sealed a tin can full of chicken in there, and I can't get the can out, so I'm actually having to go in from the bottom and knock this bottom cap off. So it was a really good learning experience there. But the other thing I did, once I packed all the items in here, my wife had the amazing idea of taking white rice and pouring it into the survival cache and filling up all the gaps in the cache with white rice. And I was able to get 2.5 cups of rice into this thing in addition to everything else. So it's great. I mean, that's pure calories and carbohydrates. So you're going to see what I'm doing is actually, as I'm unpacking this, I'm trying to pull all these things out in a way that saves this rice, because this rice is just kind of falling out as I'm pulling all these items out. So finally had the idea to put a handkerchief on the ground as I'm pulling all this out, and so the rice would all fall on the handkerchief, and then I just take the handkerchief and ball it up and then empty the rice into a container. But 2.5 cups of rice, uncooked rice, is that's a lot of rice, and that could feed you for quite a long time. So you can see here's the flecks of rice that are actually coming out. These were just there to fill up all the gaps and everything, and so it's pretty significant. Now I realized there was a lot of food in the survival cache, and I could probably live comfortably several days off of this survival cache when it was all said and done. I just lived maybe 30 hours total off of this survival cache, and I had food left over. So it was I would consider it a great success. My biggest flaw, however, was being ill-prepared for the cold. If I had to do over, maybe I would put some hand warmers in here. That would be, wonderful to have a couple of hand warmers, smacked on my back and my chest or something as I'm trying to sleep in the cold. I would have possibly made a lean-to and then used one of these Mylar blankets to set up next to the fire and reflect that heat back against me all night. So just little lessons like that I learned, and I love that kind of stuff. I'm not very knowledgeable about kind of survival techniques and things, but I love learning about it, and so this has been a great experience for me. So you can see as I'm unpacking it here, I'm not going to show you and take you through every single piece of the survival kit. You can go back and watch the video if you want, but needless to say, there is a lot of stuff in here, and I took probably several months packing, repacking, rethinking things, pulling things out, putting new things in, and I got it really fine-tuned. And one of the last items, and I'm so thankful I put that in, was that teal little backpack you see in the top right-hand corner. That came with a pair of shoes that my wife ordered, and I was like, wait, when I empty this survival cache, where am I going to put all this stuff? It's going to be really inconvenient to have to pack it in very precisely over and over every time I wanted to, put everything back together. So I just got this little backpack and shoved it in there, and it fit. So now all the items just fit in that little backpack, and I can carry that on my back. So it's time to boil some rice in a tin can. I have never done this before, but I made about 1.5 cups of rice in this little tin can. It was just an empty tin can that I included in my survival kit. It's basically my cooking pot for my survival kit. And this tin can, I think it used to have baked beans in it. It fit just perfectly in this 4-inch PVC pipe. So once this rice was done, I mixed in a can of tuna fish that was also in my survival cache, just to give me some protein. And I hadn't eaten anything so far at this point, so it was delicious to finally sit down and sit next to a warm fire and be able to eat some rice and tuna. Well, guys, I want to take this moment and just say, if you appreciate this video so far, all the work we put into it, consider giving a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. You can also, if you feel compelled, give to our Patreon page. It helps cover our expenses for travel and other things related to making these videos.
See the sun. The birds slept better than us.
Yeah, I remember being in Denmark around this time of the year, and the sun goes down around 3 in the afternoon, and it comes up around 10 in the morning.
Oh,
so
gosh.
you like see it, and you're like, oh, there it is, there it is. Oh, it's gone. Just
What is that glowing orb in the sky?
yeah, it's cold and damp like every day.
That's what I'll mess with Stacy sometimes if she wakes up before the sun comes up. We'll be sitting there and I'll be like, Stacy, let me prepare you. There's going to be a glowing ball of plasma that's going to come up in that direction over the horizon in about
Freak
15
out.
minutes. That's just completely normal. It's called the sunrise.
Oh, the devil, he's in the details. 'Cause it all comes out in the wash. I've seen a poor boy cry with joy. I've seen a rich man kneel and beg. Oh, I've seen it all. I drove out just north of town to the creek where Jimmy drowned. Oh, it helps and it flows and it goes to show he survived. Highway 2, it goes on forever. It stretches out across the river till it floods and does away with the victims of the day. Oh, it survives like the rain on the summer street, soaks the ground and calms the heat. Oh, I've seen it all.
Huh? Have they got their paddles and everything? Good, okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I typically do. All right. Moving again. Huh? Well, it's already 10 to 11 and we can break for lunch at noon. Let's try to make some ground. Yeah. Hold on, stay right there, stay right there. Don't go any further. Let me just clear this out. All right. Just use the logs, Eli, and pull yourself through. Like, just set your paddle down and it should work that way. Yeah, Eli, just come straight through here.
It's crazy because
That's really good.
that trip Anthony went on with us, we covered what I thought was going to take 3 days. We covered it in 1 day.
Yeah, but this is a ton of...
Yeah, moving a lot slower in this one. And we had all those rapids which sped us up a lot.
Well, are we coming up to rapids at all?
No, not if I know of.
Rapids, bigger, wider.
Well, our best hope is that there's just fewer log jams and there's more streams that pour in after that bridge, just south of that bridge, but I don't know if we'll even make it to that bridge by sundown.
Today?
Mm-hmm.
I think we will.
So we push on to our destination, which is the bridge, Highway 68, just east of Roberts Crossing, I believe it's called. But an interesting thing happened the night prior. We kept hearing these pretty large splashes in the river. It sounded like someone throwing like a 50-pound stone into the river right next to us, which would have been really odd because we were in the middle of nowhere and there was no fish big enough to make that kind of a splash, nor were there any stones anywhere. So we were really puzzled as to what was going on. It actually caused me to wake up multiple times throughout the night hearing this massive splash right there in the water next to me. We were all kind of puzzled about what was going on. It wasn't until we actually made it to the end of our trip that we met two fishermen, and I asked them if they knew what kind of animal or what would make such noise over and over all night long. And it was then that they told me that it probably was a beaver protecting its territory by slapping its tail in the water. And I looked it up on YouTube, and sure enough, that's a very classic behavior of beavers as they're protecting their territory. So anyways, it was kind of a funny memory. But we're pushing on south towards Highway 68, and it's been a long day. We ended up paddling a couple hours after lunch, and we did hit our destination. It seemed like a lot of the log jams cleared up along the way, so that was good. We were able to make better ground. But the river did an interesting thing at this point. It kind of split up into halves, and it would go around these little islands, and so we had to figure out, which way do we go in these forks in the river? Which way is the best way? So we pick the one with the most water and the swiftest current, and that way we didn't go wrong. But I wanted to show you an aerial footage of the map here as we're coming around the bend, and I was able to launch the drone from the front of my kayak just to kind of get some aerial reconnaissance to see where we were. But we took off here from Blue Spring, as you can see in the map, on Highway 10. And I think we traveled, if I had to guess, maybe just 5 or 6 miles and maybe 12 hours of paddling total. But we made it down here to Highway 68. And as you can see, the little ramp here that comes down off the side of the highway. This is actually a really good place if you want to put in for a future trip or anything like that. I think south of this point, the log jams really clear up, and it seemed like there was minimal log jams from what we could tell. So this was, follow-up video in the future. This will be part 2 of this trip. I'll do a video going from Highway 68 down to John Hutto, and here's our bridge. So this is what a kayak looks like after being on the river for a couple days. An overnight trip here, clearing up all these log jams. You see all the debris and stuff inside my boat. And our arms were exhausted from sawing through all these trees and branches, but we made it, and it was a memorable trip to say the least. And here's the 2 guys that gave me some advice on some beavers. Well, guys, I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope it inspired you to get out there and enjoy nature and plan a trip of your own. In the meantime, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next video.